from Industrial Pharmacy 1, Unit 2. So let us learn about the tablets. Talking about the tablets, basic definition. First of all, the very important thing is that it is one of the most widely used solid dosage forms obtained by the compression. So of the powder or of the granules, you compress it and you get the tablet. It has several ideal characteristics of the tablet. It's very strong and it's very hard to withstand mechanical shock. So it should be stable enough. Not only physically but chemically also it needs to be stable. So that you can have adequate bioavailability, and most important, it should be elegant enough so the patient feels like taking it. It should be having uniform weight and drop. Talking about the classification of tablets, tablets are of different types, ranging from the tablets which are being ingested orally or the tablets which are being used in the oral cavity. Some tablets are administered by other routes apart from the oral routes, like your vaginal tablets, tablets used to prepare the solutions. Apart from that, there are tablets which are meant specifically for the oral cavity. For example, your buccal tablets, sublingual tablets, trouches or lozenges, dental cones. Then there are other tablets which needs to be implanted, like your vaginal tablets and implantation tablets. Then there are kinds of tablets which are used to prepare solutions. For example, your effervescent tablets, dispensing tablets, hypodermic tablets, tablet triturates. Talking about the excipients, these are the non-active substances being added to the tablet to make the formulation easier. So they are being added up with the active pharmaceutical ingredient to formulate it into the form of your tablet. There are several common excipients which are used in the tablets, ranging from diluents. Diluents are the substances which actually make up the bulk of the tablet. Apart from that, there are binders, compression aids, granulating substances or disintegrants which helps the tablet to disintegrate. Glidants, which improves the flow property of the powder. Apart from that, there are lubricants, and if your tablet requires the coating, you need to have the coat forming materials. And if you have to improve the elegancy of the tablet, you can add upon the coloring agents. So you can't compress the powders like into the form of the tablet. First you make the granules. Why do we make the granules? To make the good strength of the tablet. To make a better tablet, better drug delivery, it's suggested to have the granules first, and then these granules are then further compressed down to form the tablets. So the basic advantage is that you can have the enhancement of the flow of the powders. You can produce uniform mixtures. You can have dust-free formulation. So there are specific advantages which are associated with the formulation of your granules. Talking about the granules, granules are of basically three types: dry granulation, wet granulation, and direct compression. Talking first about the dry granulation, as the name suggests, dry granulation, you have to take out the substance and add up the excipients and pass it through the rollers, compact rollers, to make the slug. So in dry granulation method, you're not adding up any binding substance in the wet form. So everything is being added upon, but again it is with the help of roller compactors, you're making the slugs, and then you're like compressing these slugs. So this is the process to make out the slug. Then you do the roller compaction. For wet granulation, you need to have the binding agent in the wet form. For most of the time, you take the starch paste. So you have done this experiment in your lab also. You need the starch paste, whereby it helps in the binding down of your powder to form the granules. And if you have the good quality granules, it can be compressed into good tablets. Then comes the drying of the granules. So once you have made the granules, you need to dry them. You need to pass them through again mesh so that you can have a uniform size of the granules. Then you have to add the lubricants at the end before compressing it into the tablets. So there are substances which can be directly compressed, because if you do the dry granulation or wet granulation, it is not suitable because of some chemical degradation like hydrolysis. So it is better suggested to directly compress these substances. Let's talk about the equipments which are being used for the manufacturing of tablets. So this is Littleford Lodge mixer. So there are several mixtures. You can see the diagrams. Diosna mixture, mixer granulator. So you can do both the activity, mixing as well as granulation. Calzonator roller compactor. Then there are certain problems which are being associated with the tablets. For example, tapping, whereby the top layer gets removed, or lamination, the tablet gets divided into layers, cracking, chipping. Some part of the tablet goes off and gets stick to the machine. Picking, sticking, binding, double impression when the upper head is pressing the tablet 2 times, so leaving 2 marks. So these problems can be further rectified with by maintaining temperature control or the processing problems associated. Then defects are related to excipients as well. So we need to identify these defects first, then we have to solve out these problems, and then we can have the removal of these problems. Talking about the compression machines, so you can understand the compression machine has several parts ranging from the hoppers, dies, punches, cam racks. So it is a circular motion pathway. So tablet presses are basically classified as single punch or the multiple station rotary presses. So this is compression tooling part, punch the body part and a tie part. So again, if you see you can have B type of tooling or D type of the tooling. So it depends. It depends on the size of the tablet you want to manufacture. You can have any sort of the tools attached. Either it may be B, D, BB or DB. So understanding the tooling part is very important so that you decide upon what kind of the tooling you require for your kind of the tablet. So coming to the tablet coating now. So there are reasons where one can go for the coating. Maybe the masking of the bitter taste, or like having some sort of extra protection, physical protection or chemical protection, or to protect against the acid resistant enteric coating where you want to target it to the intestine. And if you want to incorporate another drug, or you want to enhance the pharmaceutical elegance. So basically there are three components which are being involved in coating process. First, you need to understand the tablet properties. Then you need to understand what kind of the coating process you are going towards, the selection of the coating equipments and coating compositions. So my dear students, there are a wide range of options which are being available these days where you can select any kind of the coater. So for that you need to understand about the standard coating pan, or for better drying you can have the perforated coating pan or fluidized bed coater where the tablets are basically suspended in the air and the coating process takes place there only. So it has the best type of the drying process. So this is all about the standard coating pan. But the problem was associated was that the drying process was not uniform. Then came the concept of the perforated coating pan system. So as the name indicates perforated, there were perforations. These perforations were like meant for better drying control. Fluidized bed air suspension system. So where the tablets were suspended in the air and coated at the same time. As soon as it was coated, it was being dried upon. So again, there were different types of the systems like spray application systems, atomized systems. So coating were of different types like sugar coating. So it was the most complex coating in the term that a lot of weight was being added upon. Then came the film coated. So this was a very thin coating provided over the tablet. Then came the gelatin coated tablets, anteric coated tablets, compression coating tablets like that. So other advanced system included like your electrostatic coating, dip coating and rotary die coating process. Talking about the sugar coating, it has several steps. So basically 5 steps. First starts with the waterproofing and sealing. Once it is waterproof, so that nothing enters into the core of the tablet. Come the concept of subcoating, syruping, finishing and polishing. Waterproofing and seal coating, subcoating, syruping, polishing. Then film coating. Film coatings are better since in sugar coating, a lot of weight is being added upon the tablet. So this is not being done in case of film coating. You have a thin film layer which is being coated over the tablet. So this gives additional mechanical strength to the tablet. And the cost of coating is also very less. Talking about the disadvantages, so because of the slow, due to the use of two viscous components to be sprayed, or like depending on the type of the skill and the technique required by the operator to do this activity. There are two types of the film forming agents, non-enteric film formers or enteric film formers. So as the name suggests, enteric film formers, they are being targeted for the small intestine. So there are many examples which includes like your HPMC, MHAC, EC, HPC, Povidone. Remember, don't forget to memorize 4 to 5 examples into each category. So these are the examples for your enteric film coaters, including CAP. CAP is very important, cellulose acetate phthalates. So remember the phthalates are exclusively meant for the enteric coating film formers. Talking about the ideal properties, you can understand for the entire coating substance, it should be able to provide the complete resistance to the gastric fluid. Clotting composition includes like a mixture which is having major components is your solvent system, which gets dried upon leaving behind your layer. Then apart from that, other substances includes like your plasticizer, which provide the elasticity to that coating. Colorants, so that the elegance is being improved upon, and opacant extender. The color is able to spread faster. Opacant extenders. These are again very important as a part of your coating composition. Solvent, you need to have the solvent which should not be toxic and it should be completely inert. Plasticizers, again there are several kinds of plasticizers. They are able to modify the quality of the film. So you need to select optimal plasticizers. So you need to adjust the level of the plasticizer at the same time ranging from 1 to 15%. So classic examples include like propylene glycol, glycerin, surfactants, etc. Colorants are very important these days because they should be selected in a way from, even if you're selecting the inorganic material or the organic material, you should have a fine powdered colorant. Opacant extenders. So they're basically the fine inorganic powders which are used in the coating solution formulation to provide the more pastel color. So you get a beautiful color once you add upon the opacant extenders. And they also increase the film coverage. So two things very important, not able to provide only the beautiful color as well as the color coverage is extended out. The classical examples include titanium dioxide, silicates, carbonates, magnesium carbonates, etc. Talking about the quality control, one of the most important aspects for tablets. So whatever tablets you have manufactured, if they don't qualify the criteria as established by the quality control, it won't be able to clear that part. So you have to ensure whatever method you adopt, it should be able to pass those tests. So again, tests are being divided into two types, pharmacopoeial and non-pharmacopoeial. So talking about these tests, they are of different kinds, starting from your hardness, friability, tensile strength, thickness, etc. Talking about hardness tester, not many hardness testers are being available. You need to select out from that. So there are like your several types of hardness tester that you must have also used Monsanto hardness tester in the lab. So after that comes the friability test to check upon whatever tablets you have manufactured, they can be transported easily from one place to another. So your tablet integrity should be intact. So friability test ensures that none of the tablet weight goes off, even if they are like exposed to traveling conditions. Friability. This is the friability test apparatus in the lab as well. Thickness can be measured using several equipments like your vernier calipers, thickness gauges, automated equipments like. So tablet thickness is again very important because we want uniformity in all these parameters. Apart from that, other important parameters like important in the case of tablets includes like your content of active ingredient, uniformity of weight, uniformity of content, disintegration time and dissolution time. So weight and variation test, you need to check these standards established by the USP, BP and IP. Depending on the tablet weight range, you can see the difference which is being allowed. Starting from your, if your tablet is weighing more than 325 mg, 5% variation. Tablet weighing from 132 mg to 324. In the case of USP standard, it is 7.5%. So you can see as the tablet weight goes down, the difference allowed is increasing. Talking about the content uniformity, this is being done to check the content of your API, active pharmaceutical ingredient. So there's an established method that you need to undergo. Uniformity, content uniformity is very important. You need to check how much variation in each tablet is existing as far as the uniformity of content is there. Disintegration test. Again, very important to check out how your tablet is going to behave once it is inside the body. So how much time it will take to disintegrate, because until unless it is being disintegrated, it won't be absorbed into the systemic circulation. So this is the disintegrating machine. So again, different criteria are there for different types of the tablets. You can see uncoated film. So each type of the tablet has a different disintegration types. Next, moving on to the disintegrating test. So disintegration test is very important because it is being affected by several factors, which includes your binder strength, lubricants, surfactants, hardness, etc. Dissolution test is very important to check even if your tablet is disintegrated to in how much time it is actually being absorbed into the systemic circulation. So whether you take capsules, tablets, you have to ensure through the dissolution test only you can say that the absorption time is this much. So it basically measures the amount of the time which is being required for a given percentage of the drug substance in a tablet to go into the solution. So under a specified set of conditions. My dear student, there are different type of the apparatus being used in dissolution also, like your basket type and paddle type. So depending on your formulation, you need to select out each kind of the apparatus. Thank you so much everyone for your patient listening. I hope now you have got a complete idea overview about the tablets. Thank you everyone.